Am I the a-hole for telling my dad my mom could never make me think she's worse than him after he tried to make me and my brother hate her for not doing anything for his affair family? My dad had a second family most of my 16 male life and all of my 14-year-old brother's life. He had another woman, and he had 3 kids with her and helped her with her other kid who's my age. She knew he was married and knew about us, but they started a whole family together and waited 10 years before basically telling mom herself. It broke my mom, and me and my brother had our whole world blown up by the 2 of them, and they never felt bad. They expected us to be happy too. She wanted us to be close to all her kids, and Dad kept saying we were all siblings and should have each other's backs, and he didn't want to see family favoritism. That never happened. Me and my brother are each other's favorites. We don't give a damn about the others. We don't try to include them in our lives or anything else. We get benefits from having semi-wealthy grandparents and a mom who has support from her family, and we don't care about the other kids' jealousy over it. We don't care that we could share. We don't. I hate my dad. I think he's sick. I don't have to go to his house as much anymore, but going 10 days a month is still more than I like. I'd like to have nothing to do with him or his second family, but a judge says me and my brother will have a relationship with them until we're 18. So it's a countdown for us now, and we have our phones set for the day we can say bye to Dad and never see him again. It's great, and at home we always count the days down together. My mom never says anything bad about Dad or his other family. She's civil when we're around, and I don't know what happens when we're not. But my dad likes to punish her more by trying to make her do stuff for the other kids, and she never does. Now he's going even crazier, and he expected her to pay for their school lunches. Dad and his wife both lost their jobs over the summer, and they got new jobs that pay less. Mom took over the money in mine and my brother's lunch accounts when school went back, and Dad told her to do the same for the others, and she refused. He ranted about it when me and my brother were there. He told his other kids that Mom wanted them to starve, that she could afford to pay, but didn't. He even showed them photos of Mom taking me and my brother out to eat and doing different stuff. It pissed me off, because he's such an a-hole to have a whole other family while married to her, and then expect her to pay for it. Dad told me he felt like I was hostile during dinner when he brought it up. I told him he was disgusting to try and make Mom do a thing for his affair family. He told me it's my family, and my brother's family too, and Mom should do what she can because of us. I told him I didn't want her to. I said they will never be my family, and I can't believe he would be such a jerk. Dad told me to watch my language and said my mom was worse, because clearly she hates the kids too, and only a monster could do that. He said I should hate her for not taking care of my siblings, and I told him they'll never be my real siblings in my eyes. He said my mom is way worse than him, and I need to see it. He said he gave us more and she gives people less. I told him she'd never be able to make me think she's worse than him. I said nobody, in my eyes, sucks as much as he does. I told him my mom could do so much, and I wouldn't care. He said Mom would let them die rather than help, and I told him I don't care. He told me I should care, and I should see the bad in my mom, and I should stop treating him like a monster when he did nothing to me. He said his and Mom's marriage has nothing to do with me or my brother, and we hate him anyway. I told him I always will. He told my grandma, his mom, and she told me I should not be so set in my thinking. She told me I shouldn't choose sides between my parents or hate my dad. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Wow, your father sure does have a load of audacity. You know, you could get your father for parental alienation with the way he's encouraging you and your brother to hate your mom and talking so negatively about her all the time. My mom looked into it, but apparently Dad would just be sent for some classes and it wouldn't really change the visitation schedule. He might have to pay money to the court too, but it's not good enough, honestly. Mom checked with her attorney when we told her what happened. So, let Dad take some classes. He needs them. They won't do anything. I'd want him to lose all visitation and not just be forced into some classes that won't make a difference. Not the a-hole. Your dad can get bent. Suggest that if they're struggling to feed the affair children so much, it might be best to have the courts reassess if the current shared custody is viable. Maybe you can even email someone involved in the case about this situation. Given that you are 16, the courts are more likely to take your feelings into account. And your grandma, speaking honestly, is an idiot. Your father did do something to you. He broke your family and your trust. He's continually tried to force you into a situation you want nothing to do with. He's trying to get financial revenge on your mom. His behavior is an active attempt to alienate you from your mother, which might be helpful to mention to anyone involved in the case who might be able to petition a change to the custody agreement. I don't know. Mom's attorney doesn't think it would do us any good because the judge isn't really going to make decisions based on money or what I want. They have been super clear about how parents and kids need to maintain some kind of time and relationship. I can talk to Mom about it again. Maybe see about asking for a different judge in that case, since money and the child's opinions are vital parts of the decision, and the judge may be biased in this case. I'll let Mom know about this and let her look into if that's possible or not. Next story. Am I the a-hole because I won't go to my dad's house during Mom's custody weeks to check in on his pregnant wife? I think my dad's being an a-hole about everything, but I want to be sure people don't think I'm one too. My dad cheated on my mom with his wife Lou. They had an affair for 4 or 5 years or something crazy like that. Lou was engaged to someone else when she was having the affair with my dad too, and Lou got pregnant, which is why they told my mom and Lou's fiancé. They thought Dad was the father of Lou's kid, but he wasn't. Lou's ex didn't want to be involved in the baby's life after his life imploded, so my dad adopted Lou's baby and raises her as his kid. Dad already has me, 16 female, and my 19-year-old brother from his marriage to Mom. We don't like Dad after everything that happened. He chose her over us a lot during the affair, because times he said he'd come to my shows or my brother's games he would miss them. He wasn't around on weekends to see us either. He covered by saying he was working extra hours and needed to because things were getting so expensive. Mom believed him too. It sucked at the time not having him there, and even for our birthdays he was a no-show those years. It was worse when we found out why. He didn't just hurt Mom, but he abandoned us for someone else. I think the two of them are whores to do stuff like that, and I called them both that to their faces before, which my dad didn't like. What I hate the most is I have to keep going to his house every other week until I turn 18. My mom and brother tried to get custody changed so I could stop going, and it didn't work. And Mom and I tried a few times too. Even at 16, they won't listen to me and accept I don't want to see Dad. Mom was threatened by a judge with a loss of custody and maybe jail if she didn't comply and make me go and stay there. Dad was warned of the same thing. My brother tried to push against it once anyway, and Dad called the cops, and it was a whole scene until my brother gave in. It's BS, honestly. And if I spend all my time doing other stuff, my dad takes my stuff away for his week and tries to ground me. Dad and Lou only considered stopping the fight for custody because me and my brother don't treat Lou's kid like a sibling, and I don't help them with her. I don't spend any time with the kid, and I'm not polite to Dad or Lou. In family therapy, I told them I would never be a family with them and I was going no contact like my brother has. That's all the background, but there's something else. Lou has epilepsy and she's pregnant, and there have been some issues since she got pregnant this time. She had to stop working and take it easy, and they have a nurse that checks on her and Dad calls. But Dad said the nurse doesn't come often enough for him, and he wants me to check on Lou and make sure she's okay, and I refuse to do it. On Mom's time, he can't make me, but even on his time, I just stay out after school. My dad told me it was dangerous to have nobody checking on her, and I told him I didn't care, and he was asking the wrong person to care. My dad said I can hate them, but should want them alive and healthy. And so I don't go. Does that make me the a-hole? For people who ask, my brother doesn't go either, and he was asked too. Not the a-hole. That's his job, not yours. That's what Mom told him when I showed her all the texts he sends about this. He didn't like that, and they ended up fighting over it, but Mom defended me and my brother. If your dad has time to send you loads of texts telling you to check on his wife, he could just call her himself and see for himself that she is fine. Ask him why he's texting you rather than calling her. You could go a step further and then ask if he is too busy to call her because he's cheating on her. Keep repeating to him that he must be cheating again because that's why he was never around before. You could also mention it to his wife that he's probably cheating. Tell her she knows how he does this. He skips out on his family to cheat and claims he's busy with work. I'd also point out to your dad that your time with him is to see him, not to babysit his wife or his kid. If he isn't at home, there is no point in you going to his house at that moment, because the point is to see him and he isn't there. Why do you have time to text me but no time to call her and check on her? Are you cheating again? You are a child. They won't even allow you to make the decision about how much time you spend with your father. Why on earth would they then decide you are responsible enough to care for a pregnant woman with a high-risk pregnancy and other medical concerns? Not the a-hole. Dad said I'm old enough to know how to call for an ambulance and to get her help if I see her having a seizure. What, they think you're a service dog all of a sudden? No, she can get her own nursing help. Doesn't she have any friends? Or did she slept with all their husbands too? Her friends live in other places. I know she has one that sounds like another her, which makes me think they should just ask her since she's a cheater too. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not celebrating my parents having a baby or even feeling happy for them? My parents had me, 17 male, when they were 21. I always knew they wished they had been older when they had a kid, and I know most of my family wished they had been older too. I never had the greatest relationship with my parents. They were fine. They made sure I had food, clothes, and a home, and they made sure I went to school every day. But it never felt like they wanted me. I felt like their chore, and I never felt loved by them either. When I was around 7, they started trying to have another baby. They talked about it all the time, and they told family they were trying. Probably the only person who ever cared about how I felt and how that stuff made me feel was my mom's dad, Granddad. Granddad loved me and always made time just for me. Even Grandma, Mom's mom, never really warmed up to my parents having me and was excited for them to have a baby the second time around. But the second baby didn't happen. They went to doctors, and I'd hear all about that. They started cutting corners to save up for fertility treatments. It didn't impact me too much, but there were some things like snacks and takeout that I missed because there were never any good snacks, and they never ordered out anymore. Granddad would try to make it up to me where and when he could, but sometimes he got shamed by Grandma, my parents, or one of Mom's siblings for spending the money on junk for me when it could have been used to help my parents have a baby. That's the other thing. They were trying for another baby, but they never said that. It was always they were trying for a baby. They wanted a baby. There was nobody but Granddad who acknowledged that they already had one. When he used to correct others, they'd say it was obvious what they meant, and they were just dropping a word. The fertility treatments didn't work when they first started them, and Mom would cry about how much she wanted a baby, and my dad would say it would come in time. He'd reassure her that they were supposed to be parents and would get their child. After 10 years of trying, and I think they have spent way more money than I even realize on fertility treatments, Mom's pregnant again. I don't know what treatment they used that worked, but they're having a baby. When everyone found out, it was a big celebration, and Dad's side literally threw a party for everyone. It was a whole thing that my parents were finally having a baby. My parents said they couldn't wait to have a child and be parents. Their families cheered that stuff. I wasn't celebrating, and my granddad wasn't really either. He was sticking by me and being my support. It didn't go unnoticed, and it pissed off everyone else. My parents didn't really say much, but both my mom and dad's families accused me of ruining the joy and crapping all over my parents' amazing news because I acted like a loner who wasn't a part of the celebrations. They said a big brother should celebrate the news he's getting a baby sibling, and I should be sharing the joy with my parents. But I didn't even look like I was happy about it. Granddad defended me and told them how awful it was to act like my parents were having their first when I was here all along, and nobody else seemed to acknowledge how crappy it was to pretend I didn't exist because my parents had me young. I felt and still feel bad that Granddad basically got slammed for defending me, and I hate that it feels like there's more animosity toward me now. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's crazy that they think they get a do-over. You're their child too, and are justified in how you feel. I get that they had you while young and weren't ready, but it doesn't justify them pretending that you're not their first child whom they have failed. What's crazy is that they're going to pester you to be an older brother to their child. They'll guilt trip you too. Glad you have a good grandfather. It was actually their families who pestered me about the brother stuff. I don't know if my parents will want me to be a brother to their kid. They might want to start fresh with the baby and pretend they never had me. That's the way they act, at least. This is rough. You may want to talk to your school counselor about this if you don't feel you can talk to your parents directly, or they'll just blow you off again. Not the a-hole. You have some very self-absorbed and bad parents. Please don't take it out on your little sibling, though. You will be adult soon. Please go no contact with your egg and sperm donor so they can't guilt you into watching their precious first child. Not the a-hole. Your grandpa is a freaking hero. You will be fine. You don't need those other people in your life dragging you down. He is my hero. I wouldn't have anybody if he didn't love me like he does. Maybe your grandpa can talk to your parents if he can talk them down from that ridiculous cloud they are on. He tried talking to them before. It did nothing. This has been going on since I was little. It's not just since the pregnancy. Nothing will change. They have gone mental trying to prove something via the pregnancy. It's not about the children. It's something they have to prove. It's deeper than we can understand. It's not anything to do with you, and you're so underrating your place in the family. It is awful to be on the outside and see it so clearly, and for you to be hurt by thinking you don't have an important place when clearly you do. Their lives would be completely ruined if anything happened to you, but I know you cannot see that, and I'm so sorry. Then they must have always been mental, because they were like this before they started trying for another kid.